Hi there, and welcome to today's episode of Hire Her. This is a podcast put on by Talent Collective. We are a community for women in the recruiting space. Very excited to be here with you today and with our very special guest, Kristen Renee. Kristen and I actually got connected. She was a candidate that was placed by my old recruiting firm that I was at for many, many years. And we got connected through her recruiter, who is also working with Talent Collective. And they just stayed in touch for many, many years. And Kristen is doing some amazing work in the wellness space now. So a little bit about her background. So way back when, early career was an EA in the financial space, and then worked her way into the HR space and was in HR for many years and was in director roles and with some really amazing companies. But really through that journey, encountered some really, really difficult things in her life, which she'll share with you. But those things have now brought her to a place of running her own wellness company. And so we're really excited to learn from you today, Kristen. So thanks for being here. And why don't you start off and tell us all about you and your journey? We'd love to hear more.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. Yeah, so I think where I've landed now is I want to and I'll talk about how I got here, but one thing I just wanted to mention is I like that I think my goal will be I want to be a bridge between, having run HR, director of HR and operations, and now having had this wellness journey. So kind of showing people how we can bring it into our daily lives and hopefully not go through a journey like I went through. So I'm here to help be preventative and bring it to our daily lives. So I like myself as like this idea of a bridge of kind of both worlds. So thank you. So my story, having worked so hard in the Bay Area most of my career, and we all know it's just, it's a fast-paced life in the Bay Area. You work really hard, we have mortgage payments, etc. So I was in it working extremely hard, focused on my career. And my personality was, I wanted to be a great athlete and, have the perfect body, have the perfect clothes, have the right job, have all the friends, do it all. And so the way I was doing it all in hindsight, I was always kind of taking away from my bank of sleep. Like that's how where I was known as 5-minute Krista I was always squeezing it around and rushing to see my friends. So it was nonstop, and I thought I could keep that pace up forever. And at the time, seemingly out of the blue, now I know it's not so out of the blue, my knee and ankle swelled up, and upon getting it checked out and 2 doctors' visits, I got the diagnosis of autoimmune or rheumatoid arthritis. And you kind of get told that's like potentially a life sentence, right? It's so scary. It's so confusing. You don't know what's happening. I felt like my body was just defective. It's just so much goes through it. And working with my rheumatologist, I decided that I'm going to be the one to heal it. I'm like, I hear you, I respect you, but let me try all these other things. And so that also just started my journey of just leaving no stone uncovered to try to heal my body, all the while keeping my, working in the city or Marin, and working really hard, paying for my mortgage by myself, doing all the things. I was never a person that could slow down. I didn't understand meditating. I thought it was a waste of time. I would rather be running and working on my body. Like, why sitting then I just need to sleep? Like, no, let's keep going. So I was trying all these diets, elimination diets, everything focused on my gut, all the while maintaining that lifestyle. And it wasn't until I finally realized, this is years now of various joints, my eye, arm affected. And it was all on the right side of my body. And that's when I just said, I need to make some really big shifts in my life. I just had this knowing, and I started to kind of find more, sold my home, moved, just started doing all these shifts. And with these shifts, that's when I noticed I was healing parts of my body. That's kind of eventually hit a tipping point that, while I was trying to make these shifts and understand what was happening in my body and still trying everything, I had my second work or stress-induced panic attack actually on a call with my boss. And I woke up the next morning and resigned. So I finally said, I can't do this. My body is pleading with me. My arm at that point was just stuck. it still makes me emotional because I had no plan in place except I have to do this or who knows what path I'm on. So I took a year to heal and rebalance. I moved to Lake Tahoe and slept for 12 to 15 hours a day. Like I was the girl, all I dreamt of in life leading up was to sleep for a year. I didn't dream of a fancy vacation or, a Range Rover. All I wanted was to sleep, which is like what my body needed. And I was lucky enough to give myself that. And that's really when all these things shifted and I healed and wrote a book about, my journey, realized I had lived a pretty interesting life. And when I was writing the end of the book, I'm like, I don't know what healed me because I did so many things at once. I was addressing emotions. I was, not having as much stress. I was rebounding. I was in nature. I was doing all these shifts. I was learning to love myself and respect myself and be more focused on the internal rather than just external. It was so many things. I was meditating. So I realized it was all those shifts and lifestyle and environmental changes are what healed my body, and shifting back from this like hustle and masculine and the whole right side of my body going haywire to bringing in the feminine and receiving and allowing. And so that's where this is all born from. It was over 10 years of me learning and finally realizing what it took to change and heal and, thinking through my career in HR and now my passion for wellness and this healing journey. How do I bring everything together? So sorry if that was very long-winded. I guess it just took a minute to explain it all and how I got here. So thank you for listening to all
For sharing. I think it's something that probably a lot of people can resonate with. And you just hear more and more today of all of these chronic illnesses popping up that are just these rare things that are now becoming super, super common in otherwise very healthy people, right? People that consider themselves to be healthy and successful and, want to be eating right and want to be working out and all these things. But it sounds like in your case, it was too much, right? Like you got all these goals and amazing like aspirations for yourself, and that's actually not what you needed. And your story is just amazing to hear how, you did what you needed to do to heal and to come to a better place now. And I'm hoping whoever's listening is, can take something from this and learn from it and maybe apply something to their own lives.
Yeah, and the answer shouldn't be to quit their job. So I want to, what's realistic? I was lucky that I was able to, but what's realistic? How do we make those shifts in our daily lives so we don't get to those points of burnout, and thinking our company's so toxic when maybe we could be doing things ourselves to heal us internally before we get to those really drastic measures. That's my goal, both. I think that feeling of burnout can be somewhat prevented. We can control what we can control, right? So if there's more healing you need to do yourself or rebalancing, resetting, boundary setting, what are those things we can do proactively to not quit out of the blue and move to the mountains? That's not the path for everyone.
Well, I'd love to learn a little bit more about the company and how are you supporting others on their wellness journey with coaching and or sessions. Can you share a little bit more about what you offer and maybe what people's experiences might be like?
Yeah, thank you. So I'd say I'm still in the like ramping up stage, right? So I wrote a book about my journey. I'm rewriting it now because I really would love to get that one published to get out to broader, just worldwide. I think it could be helpful. So I'm really trying to rewrite it so it's more helpful for others, not just like, you don't need to read my bio, right? It's like, how do I help other people with the story? But I've written one book I'll step back. I have 12 pillars, I believe, that are like ways to shift to bring health into your daily life. So what I'm trying to teach is these 12 pillars, how it can help bringing these shifts to bring health. But I'm also realizing a lot of these pillars are completely applicable to bringing abundance too, right? Like shifting your thought patterns and beliefs about yourself and just shattering these limiting beliefs, taking more time for yourself, building a side hustle, following your passion. So it's these 12 pillars. So what I'm teaching is what I think is most helpful is kind of rolling out one layer a week. So if it's one-on-one coaching or this online program, it's like, okay, pillar one is connecting with your body. Like, am I just living my head up, or am I also in my heart? Am I present in my body? Do I feel connected to it? Do I like it? Because I was very detached before. So, healthy food and water, all these pillars, but how do you just like bring one in a week so you can be kind of more aware when you go throughout your day of each pillar, self-love or whatever it is, release or shadow work. So it's this kind of 12-layer program just to bring healing and wellness in internally and externally. And what I am working on is rolling out a group kind of Sunday, maybe 30 minutes talking about a pillar a week too. So I'm thinking so I'll be offering it as one-on-one. I already have an online course up and then a group session because I'm just also I want it to be accessible and affordable. I want to be helpful. That's why I'm on this earth, I think, is for me to put this story out here. Yeah. And I had friends that were asking like, how did you find your purpose? And that's one of my pillars. So I did write a little book about finding like a purpose workbook. It really helped me step into feeling like an author too. So it's a little one out there that's on Amazon right now. Yeah, I believe it's, bringing this to your daily life. And so how do I help people, see what they could do within their own daily life that resonates best for them? Because we all have different lifestyles and wants and different things will resonate. But just kind of rolling it out so it's not too much to take at once too. Having witnessed some healing overnight for me with some of these pillars, like I know this will help. I don't want to say anyone, but whoever it resonates with. How's that? It's just like helpful tips. So yeah.
So the 12 pillars, really, it's like starting with one thing, and then within a day or a week, whatever the time frame is, you add on like one more step, and then so you're not trying to like tackle it all. Maybe it's too overwhelming, or it helps people remain accountable. If it's in smaller increments.
Like this week, let me remember, one of them is like healthy morning and evening routines. Because I think of it as, how do you bring healing moments into your daily life we're all in the hustle, right? So how do you shift to also like, okay, let me be present. Let me look at this tree. Let me, how do you bring those in to just rebalance your body or your mind, bring some calm in? So every morning I go outside with my dog, bring in morning light, drink my coffee outside, listen to the birds, let him play, try to have my phone down and, just take in like a healing moment before the busy starts. So, but for someone else, it could be journaling or a morning meditation, right? So, or a morning walk. Whatever it is, it's just like reminders each week, like, okay, this week I'm going to focus on that. And then maybe by the end, you'll be in some new routines and just have those reminders during your day, like, I got to do something. I've been really stressed today. Let me go take my shoes off and go in the grass, whatever it is.
Yeah,
truly all helps, right? I do believe that. So yeah.
Grounding is a whole thing now, and like actually getting connected with our earth, because we're normally on concrete and always have shoes on, right? So
weird. I sit in my lawn barefoot every morning drinking coffee. If the neighbors see me, then maybe I'll inspire them, but I don't care.
I love it. I know you're just getting started with your business, but do you have a vision for the future, maybe 5-10 years out, or even just a year out?
I've written 3 books now, 2 I haven't launched yet, right? Like I know my path is to continue to bring this info out as a writer. Like I have so many ideas of even just micro books on, helping the busy executive heal and, how just all those little reminders. If it's just a little pocket book, like what are ways that are just easy for people to, learn how to rebalance. So writing, I definitely want to get into speaking more. It's just a path I know I'm meant to be on. I think part of it too is when I started off as an EA or even just younger childhood, I am sensitive, but I was also very shy, lacking self-worth, lacking confidence, lived as small as possible. My walk was small. And so I do think if I can show people that I went from this, small person to like getting up on stage, things that will terrify me, but I know it's my path and it's how I'll get my message out better. And I can show that, if this girl can do it and get up on the big stage, then, I think I can help so many other people, because it's just like taking courageous step after courageous step. And, those were healing. I've witnessed overnight healing when I did things for me, did them with courage, did them in my purpose. Yeah, I think it's just creating a community. I've started a newsletter on LinkedIn to help just remind people weekly different things they can do. I want to be that, like, when they see me, my, face pop up on LinkedIn, it's like, oh, I gotta go center myself. So just like those little gentle nudges to bring it throughout the day. And I want to bring healing into the workplace, like true healing, not just like check the box. But I don't think our work environments should deplete from our health. I think we can like merge them more, right? If they're just bringing healthier food into the office or taking a walking meeting, whatever it is. But like, let's be aware that we're human and we can't just always be in the go and push and force. Like, we all have lives and we want to have our health and our career. So how do we truly have both? So I do think, my entire career with top firms, being a high level EA or running HR, and then this healing journey definitely was all meant to be so I can, help share that message too. Yeah. And, I kind of see it a little bit as like bridging the woo-woo with, like explaining what that is, like woo-woo light maybe, but how do I do that as an executive with a suit on and just say, hey, like, go hug a tree. But how do we make that more, not seem so far-fetched and that it truly does help? So, yeah.
Last question for you here. And you shared a little bit about this in the beginning, or at least I think it was kind of a vulnerable moment, but we always like to ask our guests to share something really vulnerable that would help them connect with others and inspire other people, other listeners, because everybody kind of has their thing. So is there anything else outside of, your early story that you'd like to share that's very vulnerable that someone could really be inspired by?
I love being vulnerable. That's my path. I want to be an open book. So let's see. Things I learned. I'm trying to think what would be a good vulnerable share. Learning. I with my body kind of went haywire on the right side. I learned so many lessons, and kind of what was most humbling, because I believe a lot in that. When that's happening, there might be stuck emotions or a lesson you need to learn or communication or a change that our body is really helping us, not trying to hurt us. And when I had stuck joints or eye issues, things that were just like kind of out of balance, learning that it could be stuck emotions, learning that I needed to process more from childhood or, trauma that I went through that I really just like shoved down. Learning how helpful it is to address that, one humbling moment was one woman told me that if you have inflammation, that could mean stuck anger. So that was like almost embarrassing to like think about it. Like my body could have been showing the outside world that I had to process some stuff, right? So just looking at it from a different view, that this is all like guiding us. And I hope it's okay to say this, but I sometimes think of it as like my dog. If our dogs are trying to communicate with us the best ways they know how, it might be destructive, but they're just saying they're upset, so I kind of see that similar too. And the other vulnerable share, I'd say the humbling moment I realized when I quit my job and thought my company was so toxic. They weren't. So let me clarify. I realized after I healed that it was an internal, I needed to do work myself, that it was how I was handling situations. So that was quite like humbling too, that the healing and the burnout weren't separate. It was together. And people could certainly have toxic jobs or companies. I'm not negating that. But, there's a lot in how us bringing our most healed versions of ourselves to work could be the best version, the most whole, authentic, positive, abundant version to bring to our office. And that only helps the company too, right? If we have all these healed employees coming to work every day and bringing in their best and happy and balanced, sky's the limit. So I'd say those were two quite vulnerable stories of mine. And I hope it helps other people. I want my pain to help prevent other people from having some of this pain. So I'm here to be vulnerable.
Very impactful. The reality that, sometimes it isn't always the company, that sometimes it's us.
Certainly not always, but
I remember once somebody said, you are in charge of your own happiness, and that stuck with me forever. So in any situation, if I'm unhappy in that situation, I always try to remind myself, I'm in control of this. How can I control it or take back control or, realign it or something like that?
That's true. Yeah, totally.
I'm sure you will have a lot of people that want to reach out to you. So how best can they get in touch if they're interested in coaching or your workbooks or any of the future programs that you have coming out?
Thank you. So I think I'm going to start my group session, a Zoom session in April. I'm just lining a few things up first. So I'd say to reach out to me on LinkedIn. It's Kristen Renee Appleby, or I have my website, which is Kristen Renee Healing. You can send me a DM, send me a message, Instagram too. So I have some products out there on my products page, but for the new coaching sessions, we're just still getting that launched on the website. Shoot me a message. Anyway, I'm open, and I'd love to, have people reach out and get a great group together to do some fun Zoom sessions and have nice takeaways and small wins. So thank you. I'm just so excited. It's fun finding your purpose, honestly, building. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time to chat with me too.
Thank you for coming on. We really enjoyed this is very inspiring.
Okay.
And speaking of purpose, I think we found our purpose with Talent Collective. So, you know that you have found your purpose when you're excited to go do the work. So
totally. When I cry talking about it, you're in it,
Well, we hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you both.
Everybody tuning in. Until next week, feel free to download some of our episodes on all the podcast channels and the video version on YouTube. But be sure to subscribe, share, all the things. But until next time, see you soon.